Good morning, students. Welcome back to my 12th lecture of the subject code C701. So the topic will be the water treatment process, a very important, that is the treatment process for the drinking water. So water treatment process, we'll discuss the beginning of this treatment process because there is a very big topic. So that will be going on in some forthcoming lectures also. So, water treatment basically it is removing the impurities from the water, which the treatment depends upon some physical actions, that is the operations, and the chemical processes which is being taken care, which is simply called the unit processes. So, the treatment process of the water, I mean to say the drinking water treatment process comprised of the some unit process, unit operations, and the unit processes. What is the operations where the physical forces predominate and lead to physical separation of the impurities which you want to separate from the water. That physical separation is taking place in the unit operation. And in the unit processes, there the chemical or biological reaction predominant for contaminants degradation or removal of the impurities. This is the thing. So we have some units or operations and unit processes. This combined as a whole is called the unit water treatment process as a whole. Now, serially from the beginning, after intaking the water from the river, what is the process from the beginning? If I say, first process is the screening. First process is the screening. Then is the aeration. Then is the coagulation, flocculation, then sedimentation, then filtration, then disinfection, and finally, if there is any advanced technique for the potable water treatment, and after that it will go to the water distribution for the end users. Now, I will elaborate all these things. First, let me go to the diagram, that is the schematic diagram which is in your syllabus. That is the schematic process diagram of the treatment unit system. This is the conventional water treatment system. Why I am using the term the conventional water treatment system? Because I will separately show you the schematic diagram for the surface water as well as for the groundwater also in my next slides. Now, first is the raw water, which by intake structures we are extracting. We are taking the raw water from the river or from the lakes or from the reservoirs and can be drawn also. This is, I am giving you example, the surface raw water. The raw water can be extracted from the groundwater surface also, from the groundwater also. So the raw water, both the surface water like river, pond, storage reservoir, or the water reservoir, or the groundwater, the source, we can take the water, raw water. So this is the first, that raw water is coming into the plant, treatment plant. Now the treatment plant, the first unit, that is the preliminary unit, we are calling it as a screening. What is screening? Now screening helps. Screening means it is there are the bar systems are there. Screens means bars or rods. Screening operation actually helps to remove the large matter from the water, such as leaves, rubbish. Using a wire mesh, this prevents debris from causing obstructions within the facility, making treatment easier, because the branches of trees, leaves, logs, then the rubbish, all these things which has been floated to the raw water, that is being prevented in this screen, that is the wire mesh made of by rod or bar or whatever it is, wire mesh. It is resisted over there to make the system, the facility easier, so that it cannot obstruct in the further process of the treatment. So that is why it is called the preliminary treatment, that is called the screening. Okay. Now, after the screening, that means when the floated materials like leaves, branches of trees, debris, rubbish, etc., are obstructed to the skin, then water pass through the next is the coagulation and flocculation tank. Is a very important for water treatment, that is a drinking water treatment. That coagulation flocculation tank is very important, because the water contains the finely suspended matters which cannot be easily dissolved by the gravity. For that, we are adding the chemicals which are called the coagulants. Example of coagulants is aluminum sulfate, Al2SO4O3, ferric chloride, FeCl3. These are the classic examples of the coagulant. When we are adding this coagulant to this tank, coagulation tank, this mixed with water, and that colloidal suspended fine negative charge particle will attach with this positive charged coagulant, and they will make a flock, which will call it as a clump together, so that they can be settled, being heavier, because they form clump or flock, then they will settle by gravity. So adding the coagulant like the ferric chloride, like the aluminum sulfate, which I am giving the example, this is basically being done to facilitate the formation of the flocks, so that they can settle, they can be settled. Now, after coagulation, the sedimentation tank is there, because whatever the sludge has been formed, that is the flocculation, that is the under slow mixing, the dumped particles increase in size. A process called flocculation. After coagulation, then the flocculation is being done, and most of them sink in the bottom of to form a sludge, which can be removed from water, treated and disposed. So this is the function of the sedimentation tank, that sludge is settled and the clear water goes to the filter. So serially from the screening, then flocculation, sedimentation tank, then after that the water passing from the sedimentation tank, when their flock is being allowed to settle, then the clear water goes to the filter. Now what is the process, what is the function of the filtration? Now some particulate particles remain in water after the sedimentation. They are removed by filtration through from top to bottom layer of the filter. If we see that coal, because carbon filtration is there, absorption, carbon helps in absorption of the particles, so carbon is there, coal is there, then the sand, then the gravel. These the beds of the filter beds are there of different medium, different particulate matter for filtration purposes. They are cleaned by pumping air and water backwards through them. Now this filter which arresting the material, that media has to be cleared periodically by pumping air and water backwards through them. That will be the in the maintenance portion of the filter. So that can be done by washing of the filter in backwards process. Then the pH correction to be done, because as per the 10,500, that is the IS code corresponding to the allowable limit of the parameter of the drinking water, the drinking water pH should be ranged between 6.5 to 8.5. If it is observed that water is too acidic, that is less than 6.5, then what you have to do, it can be passed through a filter containing the crushed limestone, like calcium carbonate. That means alkali we are providing, we are adding. Acid can be added in if pH is too high. Suppose if it is more than 8.5, then the acid can be added, because the range of the pH that has to be monitored for drinking purpose, that is 6.5 to 8.5. So this adjustment can be done after the filtration process, which is called the pH correction. Then anti-corrosion agent we are providing. What is that? The agents such as orthophosphate can be added to water, particularly in areas with lead pipe. This agent forms that lead phosphate. What it actually done? The lead phosphate actually complexes in the inside of the pipe, stopping the lead getting into the water. So it will resist the lead mixing into the water. These complexes, that lead phosphate which is generated. That's why the anti-corrosion agent, that lead phosphate, has been added, and it will form a complex which will stop lead getting into the water. Finally, the disinfection is being done. What is disinfection? Disinfection is the killing of bacteria. That means what disinfectant will be adding? There are two disinfectants generally we are adding. One is the chlorine bleaching powder, CaOClCl, and the ozone. Alternatively can be used. But when we add the chlorine, that means the chlorination is being done. Addition of the chlorine is being done, chlorine dosage. When it is added, it is not only killing the bacteria, it is not only act as disinfectant, but it is a strong oxidant agent, so it oxidizes the organic matter present in the water also. And after the disinfection, some residual amount of chlorine like 0.2 milligram per liter has to be maintained, because after the disinfection, when we allow the water to distribution pipeline for the end user system, through conveying this pipe network, that water may be contaminated. There may be the chance of contamination of the water through the long travel distance through the pipes. So that's why we are maintaining the minimum chlorine residual as 0.2 milligram per liter even after the chlorination, that is the disinfection, is being done for distribution purposes. That has to be clearly in mind. So in nutshell, first is the cleaning, then is the aeration and pre-chlorination. It depends on whether the water source is the surface and the subsurface and the groundwater. Aeration is being done basically to remove the foul gases. If the water collected from the groundwater source, there the foul smell are there, so definitely there the aeration is being done. Coagulation, population is a common process. It is basically a process for that surface water treatment, because that turbidity arises, that is the fine suspended particulate matters when the water flows on the surface. So basically if we collect the surface source of water like river, pond, reservoir, then the coagulation, population has to be done for removing the finely colloidal suspended matters. Then sedimentation to separate the sludge or flop which is formed due to the coagulation process. After that, filtration, finally disinfection is chlorination, and then if any supplementary treatment, sophisticated treatment, if any modern technology that can be there, then we'll go for the distribution of the water. So this is the water treatment system. Now, as per in your syllabus, the treatment scheme for the surface water as well as the separately, one is the surface water treatment system and another is the groundwater treatment system. If the water is collected from the surface like the river, lake, pond, there, how we will treat the water? First is the screening, as I have mentioned, then coagulation, that also I have mentioned, then the sedimentation tank, then the filter, then the final disinfectant. Either we'll add after filtration we'll add hydrogen peroxide, ozone, O3, or we'll provide the chlorine as a disinfectant, and then the clear water. After the disinfection, it will be pumped through the distribution system. This is the surface water treatment system. In case of groundwater treatment system, you see the aeration one unit I have added. Why? Because in the difference between the surface water treatment system and groundwater treatment system, you see here is the aeration process is there because for removing the foul gases. Because these foul gases may be present in the groundwater, so there is a system for treating this, for removing this odor, the smell by process of aeration. That will be discussed in details when we will go by the unit operation and the process separately in details for the treatment system. Just now I am discussing the flow chart, flow system of the operation of the process of the treatment unit. Now after the aeration, you see the contact basin, that is the sedimentation tank. But here I have not shown the coagulation formulation because this is not a surface water. As this is not a surface water, it is a groundwater, so it is not so turbid like the surface water. So there is no need for the coagulation formulation. Simply, if we provide the sedimentation basin, then by physical gravity separation, the particles will be settled. And filtration is a common process both in the surface water and the groundwater that is there. And after the filtration process, I have shown it how the backwash system that is maintained for operation of the filter in this treatment unit. Then the disinfectant added, either chlorine or ozone for disinfection purpose, and finally pump the water to the distribution pipeline for the end user system. So this is the more or less a typical flow chart. I am giving an idea how the water is treated. Now, one by one, I will discuss the treatment unit, either the physical unit or the processes. Physical unit means where physical operation takes place, process means where chemical processes are taking place. That will be discussed in detail, each and every unit, how it will perform in the water treatment system, treatment system. So let us discuss about the following things. This is some photographs I am showing you. The water treatment plant physically existed. So this is also the, once again I am just giving you a drinking water treatment process, a typical one. Water influent coming screen, then it is inclined because bar rods are already fitted in the inclined way so that the maximum surface area hypotenuse side is exposed to the obstruction materials. Then rapid mixing coagulant tank is there. Then the sedimentation basin is there. Then the filtration unit. This has been discussed in details. Disinfection, storage, these are there. So this system will be following. Now the first unit is screening system. Now our treatment process has been started right from the screening. The screening is basically a preliminary treatment of the water treatment process. As this is very beginning treatment, before the primary treatment, it is the preliminary treatment because it basically removes the preliminary materials running into the system so that the malfunctioning in the equipment does not arise. That is the basic purpose. Screening safeguards the floating materials against entering into the system. Now it is basically the coarser floating materials are arrested. Coarser and the coarser floating and suspended materials like wood, leaves, aquatic plants, papers, polythenes, branches of trees, etc., etc., etc. These are being arrested, and these are in floated condition in the water. These come along with the water in the treatment plant and are arrested in the screen. Now, typically, drinking water treatment plants do not have screening units, as screens for are provided in the intake. When we are taking the water in the intake, at the provided in the intake, there may be the presence of skins. So skins are used at water treatment plant only when open channels are used to transport water from source, that is the intake, to treatment facility, which is rare these days. Otherwise, in generally, the screenings are itself observed in the intake portion. Materials are removed while coming into the water treatment plant. Now the screens, as I told you earlier, is basically the parallel bars or rods, gratings, wire meshes, perforated plates. Coarse screens are generally bar racks of opening greater than 6 mm, and fine skin generally are wire mesh of opening size less than 6 millimeters. So skins are of two types. One is the coarse skin, another is the fine skin. Coarse skin are of opening of greater than 6 millimeter and fine skin are of opening of less than 6 millimeter. Now materials may be of bar, may be of rod, may be of water mesh, whatever it is. Large items are trapped on the screen as the water passes through it. The velocity of the water through the skin generally kept between 0.75 to 1 meter per second. So this is all about the skin. This is a picture of aeration, a practical aeration of a treatment plant. I am just showing you the picture. It is a unit which brings water and air in close contact and aims at removal of iron and manganese. I am telling you, I have already told you that aeration is a process which has been applied if the source of water collected from the groundwater, and this groundwater contains mainly the iron and manganese, or iron and manganese along with some dissolved gases and volatile organic compounds. These create the smells, odors in the water. So the aeration unit is being provided for removal of this odor, for removal of the iron and manganese, dissolved gases and volatile organic carbon. This is the purpose why aeration is being done, and this holds good for the treatment of water if it is collected from the groundwater source. Surface water, it may happen or may not happen. Surface water, it is not mandatory, but the first major process treatment plant of water withdrawn from the groundwater sources, there must be the aeration. Aeration can be achieved either by exposing drops or thin layers of water to the air. That means we are allowing the air in contact with the water, or by introducing small air bubbles at the bottom and letting them rise through the water. The efficiency of aeration depends on the contact time and the amount of surface contact between the air and water, which is controlled primarily by the size of water drop of air bubble. So this is aeration treatment is being done, as I told you, for the when the water collected from the groundwater source. Effective aeration, what is the effective result of the aeration? The dissolved gases such as radon, carbon dioxide, that can be removed. Some taste and odor problems such as methane and hydrogen sulfide creating this problem, so that can be removed. Volatile organic carbon like MTB or industrial solvents. Aeration can be used for the precipitation and removal of iron and manganese. Very, very important. In which process objective of question may come? Which process the iron and manganese can be removed by aeration process? Because by aeration process that the precipitation of the iron and manganese can be done. So the iron and manganese can be removed through the aeration process. To some extent, aeration raises the pH of the water also. So this is the effect of the aeration. Here, the treatment mechanism of aeration I have shown. Now, what is the scrubbing action? Scrubbing action at a red point are shown as iron and yellow marked as iron precipitate. You see the red iron as precipitate as the yellow, that is iron. Again, carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide also we can see in the water. Now, what is the type mechanism? How the aeration mechanism has been done? Now, the scrubbing action is caused by turbulence. That means when air is passed into the water, that means when aeration is being done, that means it creates a turbulence. It creates a turbulence when water and air is mixed together. So this is called the scrubbing action. And this turbulence only can remove the taste and odors, causing gases and VOCs. They are separating by this turbulence. By this scrubbing action, they are separating the VOC, volatile organic carbon gases, causing the taste and odors that they are removing. And oxidation obviously caused by action of dissolved oxygen, because when you are going for the aeration process, definitely the oxidation due to dissolved oxygen is being done. So impurities such as iron and manganese or organic carbon become oxidized as because you are adding aeration. So in presence of oxygen, these metals are oxidized and forms precipitate that can be removed through separation of filtration. So that's why I've told that the aeration process, iron and manganese are being removed because the oxidation takes place, and this oxidized iron and manganese being separated by forming the precipitation. So this is the basic scrubbing action and the oxidation process mechanism, how it is being done in the aeration process. Fine. What are the aerators? Let us have a glance on aerators. There are different types of aerators. One is the gravity aerators, fountain spray. Physically, sometimes very frequently we can see fountain spray, motorized system, fountain spray, tray aerators. Now air strippers, that is the packed towers, ingestion diffused, mechanical aerators. So these are the aerators we must discuss about the aeration process. Now, what are the gravity aerators? That is the cascades. Now, water is allowed to fall by gravity on a series of steps such that a large area of water is exposed to atmosphere, sometimes aided by turbulence. This is a natural process by gravity. So this is called the gravity aerators because the water is allowed to fall by gravity. So it is a gravity aerators. Now, when I talk about the fountain aerators or spray aerators, that means a nozzle system is there. A special fixed nozzles or pipes grid to produce a spray of fine droplets into the surrounding air. Then the tray aerators. It consists a series of trays equipped with slats or perforated or wire mesh bottom. Water is distributed over the trays and is allowed to fall from each tray onto the collection basin to the water. Then the packed tower, that is the air strippers. Water is pumped into the top of the tower packed with inert material, and centrifugal towers are used to introduce air counter current to the bottom of the tower. Injection aerators, that means it releases fine air bubbles through perforated pipes fixed at the bottom from a compressor unit. And finally, mechanical aerators, which is being very widely used, most widely used in all treatment plants, that is the motor driven impellers along with mixing paddles. That paddles may be either submerged or at the surface, that are being mostly used in the treatment plants. So these are the pictures of the types of aerators. Rather, I would say that air diffusion aerator, force draft aerator, coke tray aerator, cone tray aerator, spray nozzle aerator, cascade aerator. So basic principle to contact air into the aerator. So these are the physical photographs of the types of aeration. So now coming to the point of the sedimentation. Sedimentation, settling, clarification. Now, sedimentation, what is sedimentation? It is a physical separation process. What separation? Separation of the impurities, separation of the suspended particulate matters. To settle out the suspended matters, including clay, silt, organic matter, and other associated impurities under the effect of gravity. So sedimentation is a physical process, so it is a unit, physical operation. It is not a process, it is an operation, physical unit, because no chemical reaction takes place. Just a separation of the impurities of the suspended particles from the water has been taken place by the sedimentation of the particles under the action of gravity. That suspended materials may be the particles of originally present in source of water, clay in form of clay, silt, etc., etc. That is called the plain settling, or adding the coagulant. When you add the coagulant, then the flock created through the coagulation population, then it is called the chemical added settling. So one is the physical settling under the gravitational force. Chemical added settling, that is also producing under the gravitational force. But prior to that, we have added the chemical or the coagulant for making the flock. So this is called the chemical added settling. Biomass produced in biological treatment units. Here, the biological treatment units I will not refer because we are not going in detail for the wastewater treatment. We are discussing the water treatment, so that will not come. That biological treatment here will not come. Now, settling is accomplished by decreasing the velocity of water to a point below which no longer supports the transport of the materials. Therefore, gravity removes them from their flow. Now, types of settling. In sedimentation tank, the particle settles, that is the types of settling. Now, there are 4 types of settling are there. One is the discrete settling, that is the free settling. Another is to the flocculent settling after making the flock. Just now I have mentioned about the after the coagulation flocculation. Type 3 is the hinder or zone settling, and finally the compression settling, that is the type 4. So these type of different types of settling, 4 settling we must highlight for settlement process, for sedimentation process. Now type 1, that is the discrete settling. The particles settle without interaction and occurs under low solids concentration. A typical occurrence of this type of settling is the removal of sand particles. Suppose the water containing the sands, the inorganic particles, that settles. So this is called free settling because without the interaction and occurs under low solids concentration. So it is free settling. That means we are not adding any agents from external. But when you are talking for type 2 flocculate settling, there the particles initially settle independently, but flocculate in the depth of the clarification unit. The velocity of settling particles are usually increasing as the particles aggregate. So this here the free settlement is not occurring, but flocculate in the depth in the clarification unit. So then it will settle as a flocculate. What is hindrance settling? The inner particle forces are sufficient to hinder the settling of neighboring particles. The particles tend to remain in a fixed positions with respect to each other. The type of the settling is a typical in the settler for the activated sludge process, which is a secondary clarifier that I will not discuss over here because that is a biological process. So that will be discussed in the wastewater treatment, not the water treatment. Now, the types of settling basin. What are these types of intermittent and continuous type, rectangular or circular types? So these are the types of settling basin. Intermittent and continuous type means it is called the quiescent type of tanks, and those which store water for certain period and keep it in complete rest. So intermittent, as the action is intermittent, not always, so it is called the intermittent tank. That means store water for a certain period and keep it in complete rest. And for the continuous flow tank, the flow velocity is only reduced and the water is not brought to complete rest as it is done in intermediate type. So one, we are taking it as a rest for a certain period. In the second case, we are not allowing it in a rest condition. We are allowing it in a continuous flow, that is called the continuous flow type treatment. Either the rectangular tank may be there as a sedimentation tank or circular in plan. Now the long narrow rectangular tanks with horizontal flow are generally preferred to the circular tanks with radial or spiral flow. Why? Because the time travel, the distance of long tanks will be more. So the treatment efficiency will be more because time will be more, retention time will be more. I will come to that point when I will teach you in detail the respective units. So we have discussed started because we are still in the sedimentation tank, and we will discuss the sedimentation tanks in details in the next class also. Now, today actually we have just very beginning preliminary lecture I have given you regarding the treatment unit of water. I have given you at a glance the treatment processes. That means the what treatment processes we are following. That means serially we have seen what are the treatment processes has been considered for the surface water. We have seen what treatment process has been considered for the groundwater, that we have seen. To different schematic diagram we have seen. One by what is the physical unit process, which is the physical unit operation, which is the process, that I have clarified and detail. I think I have detailed only two things I have discussed. One is the screening and the sedimentation tank, to some extent not yet fully discussed. So this lecture on the water treatment process, it will be continuing session of the next a couple of class I will take to cover this water treatment system, because these are long lectures. It will take a few classes to complete that lectures of the water treatment process, which will go each and every detail of the unit operation system. Then only the water treatment system at a glance can be understood. So I will close it a day, and will continue my lecture of that water treatment from the next 13 lectures onwards. So the today's 12 lecture I will close it a day. So I will upload my lectures which you have discussed so far today. The portion of that water treatment which has been discussed today in the Google Classroom. Uh, Kindly go through your glance, students. I will request you go through a glance. We will interact into the live classes for one-to-one interaction. For further clarification of any queries, if any, from your end, and we will go ahead with the balance 70% portion of the treatment unit, because today only I have discussed 25 to 30%. Balance need to be completed to complete the water treatment system as a glance. So have a nice day. Thank you very much. Thank you.